Hey, yo, 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 what's happening? My name is Bilal, and you're listening to thisisrealmusic.com. Dig it.
Seems like we said too much, drank too much. Let our emotions play out of touch. I'll go outside and
start. All right, what's up, y'all? We're here with Bilal, obviously, the man, the myth, the legend. We can talk a little bit about his new album coming out. Go back maybe a tiny little bit and just chop it up with a couple other things in general. So, thank you again for allowing us to interview you.
Sure, dude.
We're here right now. He just, his whole auditions pretty much for backup dancers in New York, which is kind of dope too, because not a lot of artists actually open it up that way. And long line, long list, long day. So I guess hopping right into it, we can talk about, just going back a little bit further, because obviously, Firstborn Second, classic. It's been,
thanks,
it's an album that I personally took trips to Virginia, like back and forth, and I think we listened to it in the span of about maybe 2 months. I would say no less than probably like 60 times, like literally, the ride back and forth.
Killing.
Yeah, killing. Great album. I guess, what can people expect, that love that album, or played it for so long, because it's been, I won't say a long time since it's been new release, but it's been kind of like a sizable gap between releases. So people that I guess have grown attached to that, what can they kind of expect from the new release?
I still feel like that album was really dope. It's not that much of a veer off from that, but that was like 9 years ago, so my music has really turned a lot into like a mixture of a lot of genres. I think my first record was really pushed by a lot of hip hop and soul. I've blended now blues into that equation, rock into that equation, and classical, and electronic, more electronic to that equation. So it's the same, but then I've added other elements.
And is there, an overall theme of the album, or is it just kind of like a little bit of this, a little bit of that?
Well, this record, I really is kind of like my perspective on the world and living in America, really. So I kind of take the stance of Curtis Mayfield or like a Bob Marley. They talked about love, they talked about the environment, they talked about being black. They spoke from their perspective, and that's kind of what I did on this album. I've got songs about being a father, I got songs about the economy right now, and I got songs about religion, and love and all that. Yeah, it's real life situations.
The album, I guess, previous to this release, that pretty much never got released, because we had a lot of people that asked me personally, for inside info or whatever, whatever happened to the album, how come it wasn't released? And I'm sure you've heard this same question before, but just I guess kind of clear the air of exactly what happened with Love for Sale, which was the album that just was completed, and then pretty much was just never released.
The record was leaked onto the internet. It was a record I was working on with Interscope at the time, and it was leaked onto the net. I don't know who did it or why, but it kind of started off as a dark period, like why God, and it turned into something different, because that was back like 2006. So really, that was when people just started to get the MySpace pages and stuff like that. The internet has really grown since then, so really what happened was the bootleg kind of turned into this underground type of deal, and I started to tour like I had an album come out. It kind of started this crazy demand, so I couldn't be mad that long. Even though the album didn't come out, people come up to me and they tell me like, that's some of my favorite shit. It was on that record, G. I'm blah 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 blah. You know, and I was getting a lot of flack from my label when I was making that record. Like, this is crazy. We don't have no singles on this. We're not gonna be able to sell this. You know, so to get that type of response from the people, it just inspired me to keep going, you know, and keep creating. You know, that record was like the start of me on some singer-songwriter kind of deal. You know, on my first record, I worked with just a lot of producers, you know, a lot of producers, and I sang over a lot of tracks. When I went into my second album, I said that I was going to cut down on all of the producers and just maybe corner it to like 4 producers, you know, just for sound purposes, and really do this singer-songwriting thing where I write the tune, you know, first on an axe, and if it stands up, just vocal and an axe, then we do a track to it. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
And that's what Love for Sale was, you know. And it was a lot of blues elements to it. You know, I started to veer away from Rhodes a lot, you know, and I started to get into more of a guitar blues sound. And this new album is kind of a continuation, I guess.
Of that new sound. What's the pressure like, I guess, for an artist? Because I've seen artists sometimes that will, especially singers, more probably so than hip-hop artists, that will come out with a certain release, and then there will be pressure from them, whether it's a major label or sometimes some of them even independent, and they feel, I guess, pressured into making a certain kind of music. Sometimes for the commercial appeal or whatnot, but I guess can you just talk about what that pressure is like and how it is an artist like you, for example, can just kind of, you know, stand up and kind of say, you know, I'm going to do my own thing. Like you're saying, the label was saying to you, you know, there's no single on there, yada, yada. I guess what is it like, or what does it take pretty much to kind of stand up at that point and kind of, you know, do your own thing and what you want to do?
Well, it takes a certain level of integrity and just a certain level of knowing, you know, and vision. You know, you got to be your own light. That's the way I look at it. You know, you got to be the light for yourself. You know, you sit around and wait for everybody else to tell you how you should be doing things. You'll never really be where you want to be. You know what I'm saying? So my deal, I come from a jazz background. I went to school for like music. I kind of always wanted to like write and produce and come up with my own vibe, you know. So I just got to a certain point, you know, especially with the bootleg, and I saw everybody's reception of me making music the way I wanted to make it. I just said, fuck everybody, you know. I'm sorry, you know what I mean, but
Sorry.
fuck it, I'm gonna do me, you know what I'm saying? And I kind of put it out there on my first album that, look, this is gonna be a trippy ride, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I really don't hold back when I make my music. I just try to empty my mind as much as possible and then just let it flow, be as free flowing as possible, you know.
What's more fun for you, creating music or performing?
Oh man, I like both. I like creating because, you know, I feel like a scientist, you know what I'm saying? I wear a special coat sometimes, like a doctor coat to the studio, like, I'm a scientist and shit, you know, or, you know, but I also like to perform, you know, and the way I write, I've been writing my tunes really stripped down and like kind of open-ended so that every night we perform, it can go somewhere else, you know what I mean? Like we'll never do a performance the same way, you know? And so I like that. But it's the same free-flowing, empty-minded concept, you know? So they work in both spectrums, really.
And if you weren't doing music, what would you see yourself doing? If it wasn't music, if it wasn't an option for you, what would you actually see yourself doing?
I'd probably be a painter or an artist, photographer, something artsy, you know what I mean? Or a barber. I'll be drawing in people's heads and shit.
All right. You want to tell them, I guess, when the exact date is? I know it's this month. I think it's the 14th.
Yeah, September the 14th.
and why should a fan of you, or just a fan of music in general, actually pick up this album?
Should pick up this album because it's a change of pace. You know what I mean? It's raunchy, it's ugly, it's beautiful. You know, it'll make you mad. It'll make you happy. You know, it'll make you think. You know what I'm saying? It's not your normal R&B record. You know, so if you like all of those intriguing things, pick up that album.
And there you have it. Thanks again for having us, man.
Sure.